What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? Happy Wednesday morning to all of you. Thank you for watching Sportsbook Review. This is Betting with the Bag. A rough night in NHL, a rough run in NHL. Now I've lost 5 straight. Lost all 3 of my looks last night in NHL. Hit with WNBA, but tough night. Early season troubles haunting me again. But I'm going to keep firing. I've already fired on the over in Montreal Buffalo. I'm actually a little hesitant to take the Knuckleheads in their home opener tonight wearing my Canucks goods. I'm a little hesitant. We got a big show. In 29 minutes, we're going to be joined by Parlay Poppy. 20 minutes after that, we'll be joined by Teddy Covers. You guys asked for me to start keeping track of Parlay Poppy's picks on the show, sitting at 4-1 since you've asked me to do that. Shout out to all the cappers in the chat. Nasty Nate first in the chat. Little angry, and understandably so. I hate leading you guys astray. That Islanders game was awful, and I'm starting to think that part of that bet was about the sleepy Barclays Center. Not, 14,000 people in Nassau Coliseum. So we've made so much money off Western Conference teams coming to play Long Island. Maybe that doesn't work anymore. Alex Ramirez in the house. We got Bubbarito. We got Isaiah says loving the Canucks tonight. I'm a little uncomfortable with Jack Campbell quietly becoming the number 1 goaltender for the Los Angeles Kings. Jaden Belanger in the house. Brandon Lugo. We got Tom Marino. Tomer some on the Flyers. Devil's defense has been an issue again. Hart was strong at home last year. Eddie Euler says, with the great Stan Schmiel look today, I think it's Tony Tuti's old Tony Tanti is what I'm thinking here. Jimmy Gomez, 11-3 in NHL. Eddie Euler says, Oilers finally got it right with Dave Tippett. Looks like they have Neo money. Will right the ship in NHL. I agree. It's very early. Isaiah says, yes, Jim, Nucks in regulation. One of my favorite plays. Makes sense. I'm just a little uncomfortable. Von Polo says, LA Kings money line felt good last night, as it should have. Great job. Doug Barnhouse, tough night for the Astros. We shall see tomorrow. Russell Gordy said, told you Vegas would lose. Easy money. Nice job with the Bruins last night. And fading them without Nate Schmidt in the lineup seems to make a lot of sense. Carlos Peroge in the house says, who you like Thursday over again, asking Ski Profit about WNBA. Eddie always says, I'm done with the Pittsburgh Penguins, as you should. We needed to find out what was going to go on with each of those teams, and Winnipeg showed a ton of heart, and Pittsburgh looks lost. Mark Utirian now. There's Mr. Gokster. Nice to see Gokster back in the house. Tomor said, I lost with Florida, hit with Boston. Yes, I got hoping you guys are coming with me on the Hurricanes train. 4-0 right now, and have beaten some very good hockey teams in their own barns. The 30-1 to win the Cup, long gone. 16-1 to win the conference, long gone. 5-1 to win the division, long gone. So I hope you guys jumped in. Matt Randall joining us. We got Ski Profits as cash in WNBA, though. Yeah. But it's just $100 bet, just half bets in WNBA. So lost $509 last night. Not good. Torino says, Suns win the close one. Remarkable gaming. Abdo bet says, what happened yesterday in NHL? I took it in the drink hole, Abdabet, is what happened. Yeah, it sucks, man. I don't know what else to say. It's early in the year, but very disappointing. Aaron Bistron, Verlander, under 7.5 Ks. Great job. Aaron Bistron eating. Dale Robinson in the house. Brandon Lugo, Canucks are too expensive because Kings are on back-to-back, and I don't trust them on a puck line. I hear that. I think Campbell has a nice start. I think the Canucks are going to be live to unders all year. So I'm leaning towards them. Melly Mouse and Jimmy, what I tell you about Red Wings last night? Yeah, man. 1-0 for the Red Wings going to the third, but great job. Neil Money says, I'm on the Kane train. Remo says, you need a Canucks V jersey to add to your collection. I do. Russell Gordy says, NHL just like MLB, gents. There will be 6 or more dogs on big cards, easy money. Yeah, we're going to look for dogs nonstop. Walter White now says Tuesdays are always a trap. Damn trap Tuesdays. Mally Mal, yes, they won 3-1. Nutflush says, proud moment as a parent. I find Caden's school ID stuck into the back of it's $15. I asked where it came from, and he said, got 3 kids to bet against the 49ers straight up. Oh, Nutflush, Alan. Oh, no. Oh, I love it. And they paid, which shows quality on each side. Because when you're 12, 13, I made bets with homies who never paid up. So it shows class on each side. And make sure that Caden knows that those kids who paid up deserve respect at that age. Tom Marino, 6-2 plus 4.3 units on NHL plays posted. Great job. Great job. Gin Rummy, might go the other way of what? Please let me know. Might go the other way of what? Be very interested in that. Russell Gordy says Devil's dog tonight. I've been very interested to see that 6.5 go down to 6. That's interesting in the total there. Matt Randall, taint play of the day. Braves money line. Eddie Euler saying Drew Martin, great call on the Rays. It certainly was. It certainly was. Victor Lou says under on the App State game today, Jimmy. Seems like a lot of sharps are on the under right now. We're going to talk a lot about that. Ronnie Chris said, Jimmy, I got destroyed last night just like you. It's my fault. It's my fault. And Nutflush said, I taught him that lesson. I love that. I love that. Prince of the City said, Jimmy, that's why I always carry the bat to make sure I collect it. I'm impressed that 3 kids at 12 or 13 paid up. That's important. Casano Magic in there. Zanny Tunes says NHL. Last night reminded me of NFL Week 3. Most of the favorites lost. Most of the home teams lost. Cash it on Oilers. But damn Knights. Yeah, the Knights should not be bet on as favorites without Nate Schmidt in the lineup at all. We have a taint play of the day coming in from our very own Matt Randall. Atlanta Braves money line from Matt Randall. Taint play of the day from our guy Matt Randall, father of Big Briggsy. Very interesting stuff. I love it. All right, Sebastian Arnold to end up losing a lot on hockey. I say 1-4. Hopefully today will be much better. Sebastian Arnold, I take the blame, man. I take the blame. Bubbarito, max play of the day. Buffalo over 6. Got it last night. Only play I'm looking at straight cashing. I'm with you, Bubbarito. See what Kincaid can do in his first game with the Habs. I'm with you on that. Bookie Lover Q, Louisiana on revenge alert. Louisiana-Lafayette 5-0 against the spread in this short season. Ronnie Christie said, I was looking so good until Detroit collapsed in the third. Yeah, man, 1-0 going into the third. Could have taken care of everything. All I needed was that one game to hit, and we were up. Aaron Bitch said, Raging Cages on the money line at home, a more capable defense. Yes, their defense much improved from last season. Don't usually look at revenge spots, but this is a double revenge game for the Cajuns. They show up. Mally Mouse says, what does Jim Rummy have to say about Braves in St. Louis? We shall see. He's in the chat right now. Russell Gordy on the other side, though, says App State rolls. Rod Zawacki, morning, Jimmy. Damn, Calgary. They look bad. Vital says, good morning, Jimmy. What's going on, man? Can't be a better. Beautiful morning. I just harvested 2 new strains. When you coming out to Cali to party? Vitalis. See, you know, whenever I'm coming angry, I got guys like Vitalis to put a big smile on my face. Vitalis, good morning to you, my friend. Great to see that. Joe Anise said, great call, everyone on the Suns yesterday. Yeah, we all ate there. Eddie Euler, big lean on Cardinals. Braves, first 5 under, full game under. And Mal Mouse, shout out to everyone who put me on the heat. Ronnie Christie says, how about them Sharks? They look like trash right now. Don't worry. Sharks are going to be buy on. Don't worry. We want these teams to play like that. You know, it's going to give us value moving forward. All right. Well, let's get to work. Jansen, thinking about selling your picks for peanuts. I'd be interested. And A. Hilly also on App State. All right, let's get to work and let's start. And there's Richie Rich has been crushing in NHL. Well, Richie Rich, thank you for joining us because I have not been. Oh, never bet the under in App State games. 2 things I know. Matt Randall loves taint and never bet the under in App State games. Nasty Nate says Jay Money murdered the Suns game. Yeah, he did. I should have gone on first half as well, but I was fine just cashing full game. Let's pop up that NHL record that's fallen apart. It has fallen apart. Let me take a good look at what's going on with it as well. Let me pull it up. Very disappointing stuff. Did you pop it up for me, Rafa, the NHL record? Thank you. Going to pull it up here on my doc page here. Where is NHL? Why can't I find NHL future? NHL, okay, there we go. All right. Are we back? Looks like we're back. We back. They say we're back up. Everyone's saying we're back up? All right, we're back up. Okay, sorry about that, you guys. It was an ugly night. It's been an ugly start to the show. All right. I'm on the over 6. I picked it up this morning. It was the only bet that I bought in this morning. Yes, I'm questioning Kincaid. I like everything I've seen from the speed of both these teams, from the power play of both these teams. Buffalo beginning a 3-game homestand after falling short and going 3-0. They lost 4-3 in overtime to the Blue Jackets. They played well there. They played well there. There's Michael Irvelina at the pantry in LA right now, listening to the Bag Show. I can't imagine a better morning. Thank you, Michael Irvelina. Much love to you, my friend. Much love to you. Okay, so I'm on the over 5. Over 6. I'm on the over 6 in my action right here. And my friend and colleague, Corey Simmons, you want to fade, take the under. Take the under in that game. Okay. Canadian Sabres, I'm on the over 6. Let's keep rolling. Next up, we have Devils, Flyers. Devils, Flyers, Schneider versus Hart. Let's take a look at what we are dealing with in the odds market. Here we go. Devils, Flyers. This total opened at 6.5 and it went down to 6. Pinnacle still hanging the 6.5. And it just keeps dropping at these books, and I find that extremely interesting, and I can't understand exactly why that's happened. I mean, the over just got steamed at BetOnline a couple hours ago once it got down to 6, but Eddie Oiler, Keith Kincaid will be starting for these Montreal Canadiens. Okay, let's talk Schneider, 2.79 goals against average, 905 save percentage. I really think that we should take the last 2 years and sort of put a line through them. He's better than he's looked the last 2 years, dealing with injuries, questioning himself. Carter Hart, remember, Flyers are a goalie graveyard. Do we believe in Carter Hart? Do you believe in Carter Hart? That's up for you to decide. I do, but not in a way where I think that he's going to be a dominant goaltender for the Flyers moving forward. Mr. Rizzo taking the over in Philly. I understand that look. Tomer says, I think the Flyers will be a bet-on team. Defense looks better with new leadership. Hart should be better in his second year. I don't always know, and you probably know this as well, Tomer, that the goaltenders don't always play better in their second year. If they have a very good first year, they don't always play better in their second year. And Harder went 16-3-1 with a .917 save percentage, 2.83 goals against average. Tormino says Hart is different. He will be a good, strong goalie. And says, I think the Flyers will be a bet on team. Eddie Oiler, Philadelphia home debut with Vigneault. Lean Flyers. There's Viper NB now. Says, what's good, Jimmy, listening at work. Russell Gordy says, Devils live dog versus Philly. Ronnie Christian says, Carter Hart's Corsi stats aren't great. He's no Binnington, but he's better than they've had in a long time. I agree with that. Jeff Joseph says, Jimmy, do you believe that Omaha Beach is the now horse going to the Breeders' Cup? Where do you think he'll run, sprint or classic? I think it's the sprint. I think that's everything. I don't think he's going to run more than a mile, which is surprising because that classic is wide open after McKinsey's shit race in the Awesome again. We will talk about that. There's Eric Jones in the house. Mally Mal says, I like your Devils today, Jimmy. I like hearing that, Mally Mal. I love Mally Mal. I'm surprised this is moving towards the under. I think this is an over. I think the Devils are an over team this year. And I'm surprised this has gone from 6.5 to 6. And then once it got to 6, I think it'd be like, minus 125. And the only place you're seeing that is Bet365. Look, at minus 122, I think that these Flyers have value. There's Breets Beats in the house. Is hockey being tough on me? Staying off. Keep killing a family. I get it, Breets Beats. But we will eat in NHL as we do every year. Every year. There's Richie Rich back in action. Love to hear what you're on, Richie Rich, right now. Mr. Gokster says Omaha Beach ran unbelievably well. Von Polo says Omaha Beach looked amazing this weekend. Absolutely exciting race. Omaha Beach is a spectacular horse. Omaha Beach was probably going to be our Kentucky Derby winner, remember? Omaha Beach is a spectacular horse. Okay. All that said, I'm very interested in the over in this game, even at 6. Very interested in the over in this game. I just don't see either of these. I mean, the Flyers could be a team based on the strength of the defensive strength of their forwards be a team that moves over to unders. But, man, I truly think that this Devils Flyers spot isn't over. I'm not going to make these moves. Richie Rich said, Jimmy, I'm liking these two spots so far. What, the over in these two games? And there's Gate Pass Key. Back for 10 days. Love it. Gate Pass Key. We need help. I'm on a 5-game losing streak in NHL. Lock in 24/7 says I will be going with the Flyers. Barca fan says, Jimmy, I followed your picks first time yesterday. Was I a jinx? No, Barca fan. It was my fault. All my fault. And, I'm disappointed. All my fault, and it won't stay like that. We will get back to our winning ways. But these days happen, and we have to keep our head up. Mr. Goksa says Gusev is nasty, Jimmy. He sure is. At 5'11", not that fast. Just a very, very smart player. Jeff Joseph said your horse Owendale confirmed for the Classic. God, I want to bet him badly, but I just... a lot of studying to do. And Ben Sport 24/7 says App State by a touchdown. All right, so the Devils Flyers, I lean to the over. Eddie Orr says Vigneault was an undercoach in Vancouver and New York. He was. Aaron Bistrom going after that monster lettuce harvest. Patience is the key. I agree, Aaron Bistrom. I agree. Prince of the City saying I may go to the Flyers game tonight. Hot chicks there. Yeah, no doubt. I've seen my Canucks play your Flyers in that very arena and loved it very, very much. Walla Walla Doe says best time to tail Jimmy is in NHL off a loss. It has been traditionally a good spot for me. Devils Flyers, I'm interested in this over. Down to 6 now. Not going to make a move as of yet. Let's move on to Kings Canucks. Kings Knuckleheads. This total opened up at 5.5. And I am starting to talk myself into an under. I believe Jack Campbell will be between the pipes making his debut. I think this is an opportunity for Jack Campbell to steal the number 1 goaltender spot from Johnny Quick. Remo says Devils goaltending is a major issue. I really don't think it's going to be as big of an issue as everyone's making it sound. I mean, surely, yes, they don't have Stanley Cup type goaltending, but let's wait and see what Mackenzie Blackwood does. Mally Mouse says take Vancouver. Last night was just I'm not sure what he means by that. Marco Thierry leaning the Devils, but I don't think I make NHL moves today. Ben Sports 24/7 says Canucks will be the play. Kings playing their 3rd game in 5 nights. Got their first win of the season last night. They've been playing very poor defensively, and I'm surprised that McClellan is going to sit back and let this happen. Remo says Campbell played last night, Jimmy. Did he? Jesus, I thought for sure that was Johnny Quick last night. What the hell was I doing? Drinking too much? In anger? Thank you for telling me that. Let me find that out right now. And do I have this? You're right. Campbell did play last night. Man. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very, very much. Campbell actually has better Corsi stats than Quick. Quick hasn't been the same in 3 years. Campbell played last night. Okay. Thank you, guys. Quick is tonight. Well, then I don't like the under. I don't trust Quick. Quick has looked very bad. God, thank you guys. Man, God, thank God for you guys. Well, that makes me like the Canucks in their home opener, a Canucks team that's not been scoring. I just don't trust Quick. But now Quick, after getting eaten up, he's been off since Saturday night. Richie Rich might pull the trigger on the Canucks puck line. The Canucks will be announcing, we're expecting Bo Horvat to be their captain. And this Kings team looks susceptible, blowing leads in every game they have. We are also moving JT Miller up to the front line. Moving Ferland down, it looks like. That's what's happened in practice. God, I think that the Canucks are the play. But I'm going to hold off. Barbarito says you can never drink too much after a goose egg. Yes, I was very angry. Gate Pass Key says Kings will be tired. Canucks get teams on the end of West Coast swings, and it's always a good spot for the Canucks. It is. It's always a good spot for the Canucks. Marco Thierry says, so you trust the Canucks? I tell you who I trust. I trust Jacob Markstrom. I think he's going to be a great goaltender. Jin Rummy has no plays in the NHL, and I can understand that. It's not an easy card. Ronnie Christie says, I feel that Canucks bet is a trap, but that's just me. Eddie Oler says, Vancouver's minus 165 is no good. -1's at plus 103. Richie Rich says, horrible spot for the Kings off huge upset and back-to-back. There's going to be a lot of pressure on the Canucks tonight. It's going to be sold-out barn. They're announcing Horvat to be the captain. We expect Horvat to be the captain, although you could give it to Edler. All right, I'm not going to make a move on the Canucks game at this point. I mean, I don't want to just make a move as a fan. Brandon Lugo says, too early in the NHL year to overvalue spots. Absolutely not, Brandon Lugo. Absolutely not. Barry Block says, anybody in here wants to stay up and watch Rugby World Cup, been smashing these first halves and full games with top nation teams like Australia, New Zealand, South Africa. Love it, Barry Block. Astute Chaos coming in with his preseason plays. Mr. Gokuster says, Kings are not good enough to win back-to-back here. I agree with that. I agree they aren't good enough to win back-to-back here. But the Canucks do concern me early in the year. Now, you know what? The Canucks were awful against Calgary. It's about as bad as I've seen them play. This has got to be a bounce-back spot for them. But there's going to be pressure on them. There's Wang Chu Khan in the house. Says, let's fill the bag tonight. Thank you for joining us. And Jim Rummy says, that's what most people do, Jimmy. Bet as a fan. And I've been trying to stay off of it the whole time. But we see this Canucks team getting steamed right now. So, Canucks, we're down to minus 142, minus 139 3.5 hours ago. So there's been a 24-cent move towards them at Pinnacle. At minus 139, it's a pretty good look. I'm a little uncomfortable. Dennis Garcia saying over. I'm almost never going to take overs with the Vancouver Canucks. I think they're a great under team, a surprise under team. All right, I'm not making a move on the Canucks right now. I'm going to need more time. The only look I have is I'm on the over 6 at minus 110 in the Habs Sabres game. That's my only spot that I'm on. Mally Mouse and Jimmy, I said last night was the lineup for Kings because they beat a team like Calgary, so the public going to see that, take the Kings with a plus 1.5. Nucks going to come in, lay it to them. Watch. I hope so. I hope so. I've watched every minute of the Canucks so far, and they've been very disappointing. Richie Rich announced his best bet 9-0 since Sunday, Jimmy. Love hearing that, Richie Rich. We need to know what you're thinking in NHL. You are a monster in NHL. I get your thought process is completely right. Completely right. You know, I really like this spot, Mally Mal, traditionally. But the Canucks have started out bad. You know, the media's all over them. They're announcing Horvat to be their captain. Richie Rich says over New Jersey game is correlated. I agree with that. Kate Pasquis says Kings have some jam in the first period, then start fading in the second period. I agree. Eddie Euler says play NHL faves early, dogs later. All right, the only move I'm on right now is the over 6 at minus 110. Let's get into baseball and talk about it before we have our guy Parlay Poppy joining us. We have one, and RMK says Montreal Buffalo over the best bet on the board. Yes, and that is the only spot I'm on. I agree with that look. Okay. Gonzalo, our guy Gonzalo, liking Braves money line and Dodgers money line. Let's talk Cardinals, Braves. Let's take a look at this right now. We have 4 minutes before Parlay Poppy joins us. Cardinals, Braves, big game. Flaherty, Fultonavich. Flaherty in the Cards opened up at minus 106. They're right there right now. No change. This total opened up at 8 and is now at 7.5. 79 Fahrenheit, partly cloudy, 5 miles per hour in. Flaherty, 11-8, 2.75 ERA, 0.97 whip in the regular season. Fultonavich, 4.54 ERA, 1.25 whip, but he was a different player when he came up from Gwinnett. Cardinals hit 245, 733 OPS versus righties. They just can't be trusted offensively, but now Ozuna is a different player. He's crushing the ball right now. And you have a guy like Yadier Molina who you can believe in and trust in the most important situations. And then you have Goldschmidt, another guy who can hit. Mark Gutierrez says Fulte was amazing last game. Mississippi Razor made money like in Braves money line, Nats money line, and the under on both. Aaron Bistern talking about the pressure on the Dodgers. We will talk about that. Eddie Oil saying Flaherty has been dealing. Anthony Chalmers liking the Braves here. Russell Gordy liking the Cards here. Guru Sportsbet says Braves 0-9 since 2001, trying to advance to the NLCS. Do they finally break the streak today? We'd love to hear what you think, Guru. All right. Rematch of Game 2. Fulte was spectacular. 3 hits over 7 scoreless innings. Flaherty was a hard luck loser, but then he got touched late. 3 runs, 7 innings. Braves 4 outs away from series victory. But Yadi, is there anybody else is trustworthy as Yadier Molina? Russell Gordy saying Cards first 5 is the play. Matt Randall, play of the days, Braves money line. Mark Gutierrez says, what's the under on the first 5? If you're just looking for a first 5 look here in Flaherty, Fultonavich, you are getting 3.5. And wow, it opened up at 4.5? How could that have opened up at 4.5? Wow, it certainly did. At midnight. So 36 hours ago, it opened up at 4.5. And it stayed at 4.5 until 7:30 in the morning yesterday. And now it's at 3.5. And that's Gin Rummy's Basics 101, telling us that you've got to get on these moves when the line is right. Braves loaded the bases in the 6th and 7th inning and couldn't do it. You have to wonder. And Mark Couturier said missed that number badly. Unfortunately, yeah. And Eddie always saying first 5, 3.5 is crap. Aaron Bister said Cards seeing Fulte again in a short span. Cards experience and bullpen comes through. You know what? Brian Beasley might have this nailed with the over. We've seen these pitchers again, and now all we have to do is get to 4 runs in that first 5 innings. Tormino says Braves offense always seems to disappear in the postseason against good pitching. I don't trust the Cards bullpen, though. There's Laniel Land in the house. Russell Gordy on the Cards first 5 and Nats first Dodgers under first 5. Michael Irvalina says Cardinals easiest money on the board today. God, I wonder if that over now at 3.5 is the spot. And Guru Sports Bets jumped on that under 4.5 and 4.5 yesterday. Thought it was a crazy number. Great job, Guru. Eddie Euler says Cards Braves looks like a classic 1-run game. There's Trevor Loudon in the house. Trevor Loudon joining us. And Russell Gordy saying, yep, Cards easy money first 5. God. Jansen riding your Cards future. I get that. Makes sense to me. CT Bays liking Cards full game tonight. Tormina says Martinez has been horrible, key part of the bullpen. And Raymond Reichard says tough day in NHL. Damn, I'd take it's all my fault. And completely and totally all my fault. And it bothers me very, very much. But I guarantee you, we're going to be in plus units very, very soon. We're going to take care of everything. Aaron Bistard says, why would you go first 5 when Braves bullpen is suspect and the taste of blowing leads late? Got to roll Cards full game. Well, Parlay Poppy will be joining us shortly. That is Cards Braves. Let's move on to Nationals Dodgers. Beats like in Braves 1.5. I mean, it's a juice spot. I don't know if you need to. I say just take if you're going to like the Braves, I say just back the Braves, you know? But you're probably making a big bet. And if you are, then it's understandable, especially if this game goes to extra innings. I mean, if look at Jose Ruiz is extra innings. I mean, maybe you get your cash there. All right, and then we have Nationals-Dodgers. Nationals-Dodgers, Game 5. Man, how exciting is this game going to be this evening? I'm very excited about watching this game. Total in the first half was at 4, now at 3.5. Spreads and totals. Strasburg, Buehler opened at 7.5, now at 7. Buehler opens at minus 145. Now minus 163, an 18-cent move towards these LA Dodgers. Why don't we bring in our Parlay Poppy to talk Nats, Dodgers? I've made no moves in MLB baseball. Raymond Reichard says you like Devils tonight, Jim. Not really, no. No, I think if you're going to take the Devils on the road against the Flyers in the home opener, I want a bigger plus line. But I don't dislike them, and I wouldn't talk you off of them. Tom Marino on Dodgers run line. Nats have struggled against above-average right-handed pitching all year. Nats bullpen still an issue. That's right. Overall versus righties, they've been fine. 258, 785 OPS. But I hear that. Let's bring in our guy, Parlay Poppy, in the house representing Long Beach, California. Parlay Poppy on the heater, 4-1. Last 2 days on picks on the show. And we have his record ready to go. Rafa, could you pop up the Parlay Poppy record? And it's looking pretty good here. You guys asked for it. And what were you expecting? 61% ROI. That's what you're getting. Parlay Poppy in the house. Thank you for joining us on this Wednesday morning. How you doing, my man?
Oh, man, it's been a wild Wednesday morning. It's only 8:30 here, but Jesus Christ, it's feel like the day already needs to end right now, Jimmy. Well, anyways, my cat bam, low baggers, how are you? Missed you all. Let's get right into it, Jimmy the Back, since we're short on time. Where are we at here?
We're talking baseball right now. We're talking baseball. Do you have a look on, before we get into NHL, do you have a look on Cardinals Braves?
Man, let's look at it like this. Flaherty on the road. We'll just go through this real quick. Flaherty on the road, most reliable dude, right? We know how spotty this entire department in St. Louis can be, although they look a lot better recently. Throughout the whole entire season, post All-Star break, most of August, September, they're spotty on the road. Flaherty's the most trustworthy guy here. Walks a lot more batters on the road, but here's the thing: versus the Braves, Flaherty on the road is giving up actually less home runs this entire season. We know we live and die by the home run ball, especially in this postseason. So at the same time, let's look at this Braves offense right now. Something is going on here. There's a problem with the middle of the lineup. Freeman, Donaldson, Markakis, Joyce, McCann, 3 RBIs, 70 at-bats, 10 for 70. I mean, it's Acuna and Swanson are doing everything. And, look, Atlanta 4 for 34 with runners in scoring position in the series. And has left 30 runners on base in these 4 games. That's not how you win these type of series, Jimmy. And the thing is that I don't want to bet the Cardinals here because, let's face it, these bats, do we really trust them? I mean, sure, they're showing up, sort of, right? I don't even know if they're showing up so much. It's like they've just been so inconsistent all year long, and these bats and the Braves are suddenly not figuring out how to work. So this is just another game. I definitely lean under. It's just a game I really don't have much of a feel on. We got Fulte on the mound. I mean, let's deal with it. This guy is doing good things right now, but let's not forget how he looked in the beginning of the season, right? Just horrendous, getting sent down to the minors, now pitching in the biggest game of his life. I mean, do we really trust him here? Do we trust this Braves bullpen department? Do we trust the Braves starting pitchers that will come out of the bullpen? No. I definitely lean under 8. I think it's the only look that I would have, despite 11 of these 14 games between these clubs in Atlanta going over the total. That's the only way I look here, Jimmy. I don't got a player.
Yeah, I mean, this first 5 going down to 3.5 is it's pretty interesting. In a 5-game series, seeing these pitchers again a second time. I mean, I think that 3.5 is too low for a first 5. What do you think of that 3.5? Do you think we could squeak over it? I mean, it doesn't correlate obviously with your full game under, and if you're taking the full game under, you know that these bullpens can be questionable, so you obviously trust the starting pitching. So I guess I know the answer right now. Gerald Jones' birthday. Happy birthday, Gerald Jones. Asking for a birthday pick from Parlay Poppy. We just lost Parlay Poppy. He's going to be back up here in a second. Rod Zawacki loving the under 8 and the Braves money line. Nufflash John says Atlanta will be rocking. Take Atlanta money line. The series should be over. Should be over. Ben Sports 24/7 says fading parlay after that explanation. Interesting. Okay. Gerald Jones. Is Gerald Jones 50? Come on, Gerald, 50 today. Gerald Jones needs a birthday pick, but he asked it from you, Parlay Poppy. Asked it for you, so the pressure's on. I'm going to stay off this right now. Russell Gordy on the under, first 5. Rob Taz talking about something being up with Freeman. We also have Max Betts from Gas Station Sushi on the Nationals and the Astros. Wow. And Torminus is
that lineup, Jimmy. The whole Braves middle of the lineup, the core of that is not hitting the ball. That's a giant concern for anybody backing the Braves. But remember, Braves is a home underdog, 4-1. So it's just a completely game I want nothing to do with here.
Well, let's talk about the big game in your home city of Los Angeles, California. Nationals, Dodgers. We have seen Buehler under this kind of pressure. Game 163 last year, very, very good. 6 scoreless innings, 1 hit ball. Game 7 of the NLCS last year, 1 run in 4 2/3. They probably pulled him early. Strasburg, though, 0.64 ERA in 28 postseason innings. Spectacular. Parlay Poppy, Nats, Dodgers. Whom do you trust?
I think dominant is really an understatement of how Buehler performs at home. You know what I mean? Not allowed to run in 16 1/3 consecutive postseason innings. 7-1 with a 2.6 ERA in 15 starts this year at Dodger Stadium. And let's look at Strasburg. You just said it, a .64 postseason ERA. That's the lowest in playoff history with a minimum of 4 starts. He's absolutely diced this Dodgers lineup. .184 average at 141 at-bats. And these Dodgers we know can smash righties. They don't smash Strasburg too much. With that being said, I think that the Washington Nationals are 100% live here. And the reason being is I think Washington may have an advantage with Corbin and Scherzer maybe coming out of the bullpen. I think that if Strasburg doesn't get hit, He's going to go deep, and he's fun to watch right now. And I think that they'll be able to get a couple innings out of their guys in the bullpen. Not the bullpen stuff, but the starters. And I just think that if we have Kershaw ready in the bullpen for the Dodgers, that sounds like the worst idea I've ever heard. And we know these Dodgers in the bullpen have looked a little bit spotty. And who do you trust now? You know, it's hard to say which team will light it up. I really can't put my money on Washington, even though I want to, because of the fact that I see too much wild stuff from these Dodgers. I can't name how many times these guys have been live in the 8th or 9th inning down 2-3 runs, looking at a live line of plus 600 and absolutely smash the ball. So for me, I know that sounds a little bit ridiculous, but it just – there's something there that's not really tangible for me to trust, putting my actual buck down on Washington to win. I do think they're 100% live. I absolutely lean that way, Jimmy the Bag, but this is a layoff here.
Yeah, it's a tough spot, man. You have these two spectacular pitchers. We have Twatty Latte in the house. He liking the Nats. I mean, when you can understand both sides, it's pretty difficult to make a move, you know? Aaron Bisson says if you're a Nats backer, please bring in Kershaw.
I agree with that. Shit. That's a bad idea. That's a bad plan. I don't think that even comes into fruition, though. That's just too for everything on the line. That's not going to happen.
Oh, I think it's going to happen.
Dave Roberts can't be that dumb. That just seems like such a bad move. That put things into perspective for that Dodgers club if that happens. But it should. Apparently, that's what the media says. Right?
I think it's going to happen. You know, in sports, you have to – I mean, we're still angry, very angry in Canada that Wayne Gretzky didn't get that shootout attempt at the Nagano Olympics. You go down with your best players. You lose with the guys that brought you to the dance. Don't go to dances with guys. All right? So I think
it sounds very wonderful, but that just doesn't make sense from any type of coaching perspective, right? But
what are you going to bring in, Joe Kelly?
I think the Washingtons they might eat this out. You know, I'm really leaning that way. The Dodgers have too much. They're too potent. You know, in any part of that order, it's a toss-up, and it's a toss-up meaning we have a plus 150 or whatever it is on the Washington Nationals. When you got something you really think is a toss-up, you go with that side 100% of the time if you want to bet it.
I agree. That makes perfect sense. And Gas Station Sushi saying that plus 155 on the Nats right now is a gift. Manny Sanchez says, love the show, Jimmy, your personality from Ontario, Canada. Rod Zawacki put me on. Love it. Devils tonight. There's Manny Sanchez. Good. We need all of the NHL cappers we can. Great to have you, Manny Sanchez. And thank you, Rod Zawacki. Love that. Guru says, yeah, I'm taking Cards full game. So Guru is on Cards full game, says I don't trust Braves to break out of this streak. I've been saying Cards are a sleeper team to come out of analysis at the beginning, and I'm not changing now. Dom Ricci on the over in the Braves game. Eddie Oil liking Dodgers -1. Ronnie Christie wondering about this under spot. If you had a free play on this total, what would it be? Parlay Poppy, it's down to 7. Down to 7. What would you do?
I think we got to lean with the under. I mean, do we see one of these guys getting rocked in the first 5? It's a tough case. But then again, like I said, there's some magic in those 8th and 9th innings. I mean, even for both these clubs. So I would definitely give that $500 to somebody who needs it more than me, Jimmy. I wouldn't know what to do with that. I wouldn't fuck with the total too much.
I hear that.
Nats are live, though. That would be my play for free.
Mark Campbell says, Poppy, who'd you bring in instead of Kershaw?
Stripling went last night, right? Do you trust Maeda? Right? Do you trust Ferguson? Do you trust any of these guys? Do you bring in you?
I trust Urias.
Urias is good for, I feel like, 2 outs before something weird happens. And Kershaw is just too susceptible for these guys who can smash. It depends on the matchup. There's only 2 left-handed batters for Washington, right? So maybe he can do spot stuff like that. That's when it makes sense to take in Kershaw. Wouldn't trust him for a full inning, though, you know?
Tomer says Maeda has been solid. Miami has been solid. I have no moves on these two playoff games, and other does our Parlay Poppy. Dom Ricci on the over in the Braves game. God, says Cards, both these teams just seen these pitchers. They both stranded over 30 runners on base this series, and Flattery is the better pitcher. Yeah. So he's on, and he's on the over and the Cards. Okay, over and the Cards. Wow. Okay. So no moves yet. Let's move on to NHL Parlay Poppy. My first look and only look at this time on this card is the over 6 in the Habs-Sabres game. I think that Kincaid is vulnerable. It wouldn't blow my mind if he had a good start here. But I'm sort of fading him. But main reason is both these penalty kills have been weak, and both these power plays have been excellent. And Jim Remy leaning over on both those playoff games. So I'm on the over 6 at minus 110. Got it earlier this morning in Canadian Sabres. Do you have a look on Montreal Buffalo?
Well, look, like you said, Keith Kincaid, that's an eyesore, right? He started last year's campaign really well, and then he absolutely ate shit. His last 12 games, Jimmy, 47 goals allowed. And no, I'm not talking about Aaron Dell. I'm talking about Keith Kincaid, who's in tonight. That's almost 4 goals per game at the end of the season. But remember, we're not going to take those stats into, actual facts on why we're betting here. Yeah, he had a bad season, but whatever. Let's see how he does here. But, to be honest, do you trust Hutton and Ullmark or either of these guys? That's the real problem with Buffalo. I mean, this is another rebuilding team. Sure, they look decent right now. But, man, what is this guy, Kruger, coming back from the European Hockey League after getting fired from the Oilers? I mean, I'm not sure what his agenda is here, but I know that there's not many players under contract for next year, so it looks like another one of these rebuilding pieces. But let's look at it from the over/under perspective, right? What you're angling here. I mean, Sabres play this team pretty well, taking 3 of the last 4. They're losing a little bit of depth with Sheary out. I believe he has 2 goals, Sheary on Buffalo, and Buffalo had some good chances actually against the Blue Jackets in their last game when they lost in overtime to put that away. And remember, they were down 0-2. And remember, Canadians were also down by 3, I believe, to the Maple Leafs, and actually had a gigantic rally to smash a tired, obviously blue line, questionable Toronto Toronto Maple Leafs blue line. So I think that the over is the only look here. I'm staying off just because I see Kincaid and how he usually starts the season. I really don't trust Hutton, who's going to be in net at all. I think over is definitely a live look. I see that moved up a little bit already, Jimmy the price on the over. So that's the look here for me too.
It's a look that I like. So we talk about special teams rankings every game. There will never be a game where I don't have what the special teams numbers are in front of me, and they're crucial.
But Buffalo's best in the league right now, right?
Absolutely.
60% in 3 games?
Absolutely. Princess C says, I can hear you typing. It's because I'm a poor typer. Okay, let's move on to Devils, Flyers, Schneider, Hart. Are you surprised at this market move going from 6.5 to 6?
But wasn't that just like 5 cents, 10 cents, like on the verge of dipping down? Not like major movement? This 6.5 to 6 really surprised me. I mean, Pinnacle's still on the 6.5, but let's go to like Bet Online, for instance. Oh, Bet Online never opened. Oh yeah, so Bet Online opened it at 6. Interesting. I didn't know that. They moved it to 6.5 at midnight. Okay, sorry, I didn't know. Let's see what Bookmaker's done with it. Bookmaker opened it at 6 as well. Oh, you're right. Maybe I was looking at this wrong. Okay, interesting. Right. Well, let's go over the game, Jimmy. You don't have a play on this one, right?
No, I have no play, but I kind of like the over here. I think that another spot where both teams' penalty killing have been awful. I mean, Flyers only 1 game, but the Devils have yet to get on track on the power play. So the Devils are scoring 3 regular strength goals a game. 3 regular strength goals again. Okay, we lost Papi for a second, which means to me, the Devils are going to be a great over team all year because they haven't started connecting yet on the power play, and they're still putting the pucks in the net. So what I was saying, Papi, was that this Devils team has not scored on the power play yet, and they're scoring 3 goals per game on 5-on-5. That tells me that they're going to be a great over team, and I don't fully trust Carter Hart. Carter Hart's got to earn that. And I think Schneider's better than he looks. Trevor Loudon is on the over in Devils Flyers. I agree with that. Mr. Goga says, I'd bank an over here, Jimmy. I agree with that. Raymond Reichart says, I like the Devils at plus money. What do you think about this over here, Schneider-Hart?
Yeah, that was actually going to be my play here, Jimmy the Bag. It seems like it's a consensus play. I don't really like that. I'm also leaning the Flyers here. But with that being said, you're right. If they're not scoring on the power play, we know that's going to be coming into fruition, right? That is going to happen. This team is too talented not to be able to do something here. And let's look at it like this. Whatever anyone wants to say about Schneider, I don't trust Schneider at all. We just saw Blackwood get completely annihilated. And I don't think that was kind of an off-the-cuff performance. That guy is not that type of goalie that just gets completely abused. Schneider's one of those guys can have like a blow-up meltdown. But at the same time, I want to lean off Devils' side until I see things being cleaned up. I have to pass on the Devils' side. Definitely doing the over here. But it's surprising how much the Devils are getting outshot so early in the season. You know what I mean? And it's too early for us to completely write off the teams that aren't doing so well, like the Devils. We have a lot of high hopes for. And this is a healthy team. Keyword is healthy. We're not talking about, writing off teams that have some injuries that we should be, a couple of teams we talked about yesterday. Healthy teams that are losing. Let's see some more stuff going on. And this is a healthy Devils team. So the layoff with the Devils should probably help focus them a little better with the Flyers, which is a little bit worrisome for the over. And we obviously know how stacked this entire line is, or multiple lines. And we just got to see what happens with the spotty goaltending here. And with the other side here, the Flyers coming back from Prague, they had 3 days to kind of accommodate their bodies. I wish I had a stat on the team that returns from one of these Euro games they've been doing the past few years and how they do when they get home. That'd be pretty useful. But anyways, Flyers, Carter Hart starting. We know how bad this Flyers team was due partly because of some leaky defense last year. More importantly, 8 different goaltenders. We expect a lot for the Flyers. We got Braun, Niskanen, Hayes, some big moves from the Flyers with that new coaching staff. I expect them to do a little bit better. Not a little bit, a lot of bit better. And the fact that you're right, Devils should be scoring on these power plays. The Flyers, they look pretty good. But, a little bit of the worry is that Carter Hart, I think this would be his first game, right? And coming in, that could be a lot of pressure. So I think that we're going to ride on this over here with this consensus play. Jimmy, I do lean the Flyers as well. I don't like that every single person loves this Flyers over. But, Jimmy, it's the play of the day.
The play of the day, and I agree. I'm on it. Over 6 at minus 115. I thought this opened at 6.5, so to know that it went from 6 and jumped up to 6.5 makes me feel a little more comfortable. Getting minus 115 at 5 dimes. There's minus 115 at Heritage as well. Minus 117 at BetOnline, 119 at Bookmaker, and 120 at other books. And I am making a move here on the over 6 minus 115. And then Kings Canucks. This is a real tricky cap. And I don't want, as a big Canucks fan, home opener, Horvat going to get the captaincy. I don't want to just take a bet on the Canucks here. They've looked terrible. Is this their bounce back spot at home? Possibly. And I think that the Canucks are going to be a great under team all year, but I don't trust Johnny Quick on the other end. What are you doing with this Kings Canucks spot?
Well, let's look at it like this. Let's look at it from the Canucks angle. You were expecting some good things from Bresser, Peterson, JT Miller, Quinn Hughes, number 11 pick. Let's see how he does. Obviously, probably a mistake signing that Tyler Myers, right, from the Jets, I believe. The young core, great. I think that they lack a lot of depth. But at the same time, this team is going to be scoring goals. I know they have not really done anything at all in these first couple of games. But if there's a way to get back to right, it's going to be tonight against Jonathan Quick. Look, I'm from LA. People think they have biases. I fucking hate this LA Kings team. Actually, I don't like any LA teams. I don't like any team anywhere, Jimmy. I like what makes me the Bucks. Anyways, Jonathan Quick is terrible. Jack Campbell is the guy who needs to be the number 1 goalie. I don't understand this. Jack Campbell is a star. This Jonathan Quick in this, veteran retiree community in the LA Kings needs to go. I do like the fact that we have the Oilers coach on the Kings. speeding things up along the boards, because these guys can't play grinded out style hockey and win games because they do not have the physical capability. They're too old. It's not going to work for these Kings. And Jonathan Quick in the net, that's a disaster. I like seeing Drew Doughty. He had 8 goals, I believe, last year, the defenseman on the Kings, already scoring 2 goals. That's a good sign. And we know the Canucks, they got talent on the offensive end. They don't have a lot of depth, not super strong, but they should be able to score some goals here. I was actually leaning it over. I didn't want to take the Canucks over because of the fact that we did not see any scoring. And I want to see if this is the spot for the Canucks to get right and score 3 or 4 goals on this Jonathan Quick here, Jimmy the Bag. But I certainly lean the over more so than a side. I like the way the LA Kings with this Oilers coach get him to run down the field a little bit, leave things wide open, blah, blah, blah. I like it. I like leaning the over, but I'm going to do a pass on the game, Jimmy. What do you think?
I'm going to watch it at this point. I just think that the Canucks shouldn't be this big of a favorite, regardless of the Kings being on a back-to-back. And it's their 3rd game in 5 nights, not their game in 4 nights. So I'm going to stay off this game at this point, but I did add the over. And then very quickly, Brad Hansen asking about the Hurricanes, why I'm so high on them. They are so fast, so young, and they're big. Their defense is spectacular. Their AHL team, the Checkers, have been the best team in the AHL for a couple of years now, and now that team is moved up to play in the NHL ranks. Aho is a top 5, top 7 center in the National Hockey League. He's not even gotten on track, and this team's rolling. You have Shevchenko, 2nd overall pick in the draft, who's absolutely spectacular. You have Jordan Staal to bring that size and accountability and face-off winning. You have Nino Niederreiter, who's a big boy on that front line. You have Justin Williams, who's gone this year, but he got this team thinking the right way, and he's a vet. And then you have and he's not with them this year, and I'm fine that he's not with them. He changed the whole locker room, and so did Rod Brindamore, their coach. Winners create winning players, bring that over as a coach in the NHL. And and I could talk more about this defense. Man, they're fast, they're big, they're young. This team is so good. And what they did to the Tampa Bay Lightning, no other team in the NHL can do. Out shooting them 44-13. That team scored 128 points in the NHL last year. They outshot them 44-13, 16-0 in the second period. And no Stanley Cup winning team in NHL history has ever been shut out for a period in the next following season ever in history. So I'm very high on them, and I hope you guys are eating, because I've got 30-1 on the Cup, 16-1 on the conference, 5-1 on the division. Those are all gone after 4 games. Sorry I couldn't give you more time there. We've got to move on. Parlay Poppy, thank you so much for joining us. Our guy, Parlay Poppy, could you review your picks and tell us where we can find you on Twitter?
Absolutely, yes. We're going to go on this Devils over 6 minus 115. You can always find me at Papi_parlay. So excited for hockey, and what an interesting time for these playoffs. 3 teams, winner takes all. Jimmy the Bag, I wonder who does it today. Looks like the Nationals may be pretty live, but we will see tonight, Jimmy. And I will see you guys all next week. Good luck, cash the buck, and catch you on the next one. See you later. Bye.
There he is, Parlay Poppy in the house. And Ronnie Christie says Tampa also didn't show up, though. What do you mean? Tampa was up 3-1 after the first period. That's showing up. And then Haula being their second center, he's their third center. Haula's their third center. And don't forget, he was hurt all last year. And the year before that, he put up 27 goals for that Knights team. So I think the Canes are spectacular. Absolutely spectacular. And Anthony Pham, I did take the under, but that's a great question. Let's ask Teddy Covers about that. That is a great question. Jay Money joining us in the chat says, let's keep it going today. Jay Money, great job on WNBA, and I've hit 5 straight now in WNBA, so feel good about that. All right, let's bring in our guy, Teddy Covers, representing Las Vegas, Nevada, to Betting with the Bag. Teddy Covers, how are you doing on this Wednesday morning?
I'm doing all right, Jimmy. How about yourself? What's that, 5 straight WNBA winners? You got to be talking about that, man. You're running good.
I've lost 5 straight in NHL, and those are WNBA are half unit bets. So
Sorry to hear that, man. But look, You have one of the best collections of hockey jerseys I've ever seen anyone have. You got a different one on every time I watch you. Did you bring those down to CR? You're getting those there.
No, I brought them down. They're all only Vancouver Canuck jerseys. We have our home opener tonight. We're going to be making Bo Horvat our captain this evening. It's going to be a big night in Vancouver, and I'm very, very excited about watching the game. Okay, let's get to work right now. Teddy covers. Very interesting question I want to ask you about, though, because I've already taken the under. I already think it's too high, and I want to hear what Ant fam. I have made 4 plays in NFL, and they're all totals because I'm trying very hard to beat the market moves, and I believe I've done that. Actually, I want to ask you about these games. I know we got to talk college football, but first off, I'm on the under 50.5 in the Niners-Rams game. I just see that. Let me pull up exactly what's going on. I just see that as being too high under 50.5, and it's been going up. I believe it opened at 48.5. And Ant Fam says, do you think this will go higher, or do you think it'll start dropping? And my bet was that it'll start dropping. What do you think of the under in Niners-Rams?
So, first of all, from a market perspective, all we've seen so far is over money. So I'm saying I would think that at some point there'll be some kind of a buyback. We haven't seen any signs of that yet. So there has been a legitimate over move in this ball game. 49ers offenses look pretty good so far. Of course, they faced Tampa, Cincy, Pittsburgh, and Cleveland. What they did against Cleveland was a surprise. What they did against Pittsburgh, they turned the ball over in that ballgame. The first 2 games against relatively weak defenses, so we're going to want to discount those stats significantly. The Rams coming off a shootout in Seattle, I would think they have a better defensive game in them. But when we're talking about these 2, what do we want to call them? Offensive gurus. Shanahan going off against McVay. We can expect a fair bit of trickery. We can expect some very original and unique and difficult to defend play calls. And that makes me a little bit reluctant to play the under. This sharp money on the over, I think, has as much to do with the creativity of the play callers here as any other factor. And when you have 2 creative play callers, sometimes unders crash and burn. So it makes sense. I'm not going to bet it.
I hear that, and that's an excellent point about McVay up against Shanny. Excellent point. Okay, let me go over my other plays because my 2-unit play in the Pick 6 contest, and I have already beaten this market move. I'm on the over 43.5. Now, I beat it by half point, so let's not pat myself on the back. In Philadelphia, Minnesota, I could break this down deeper as I did on the Audible yesterday, but I just see a spot where Minnesota got some confidence against New York. I know that's an easy secondary, an easy team, but sometimes you need to get confidence. We have a Eagles secondary that's completely beat up, and I know that Wentz can still put points up on the board against tough defenses. I think 43.5 is too low. I've gone over 43.5 in Eagles-Vikings. What do you think of that?
So this is what we're talking about for a minute, because Mike Zimmer's not a coach that I'm looking to bet overs with. Zimmer is a guy who is going to run the football and look to establish a run every single week. That's what Minnesota wants to do. And defensively, they're a solid squad. For all the injuries that the Eagles have had in the secondary, it's their receiving core that's banged up worse right now. Their defense has played all right. But Wentz, number 29 among quarterbacks who have started every game, which I believe is last or next to last, or not started every game, who have enough attempts to qualify. Sorry, there's like 35 or so quarterbacks with enough attempts to qualify. Wentz ranks number 29 in yards per pass attempt, and that includes, remember what he did week 1 with Deshaun Jackson hitting those long TDs. So it's been all dink and dunk from Philadelphia offensively of late, grinding out first downs. We have a Minnesota team that's what they want to do. They're not about the big plays this year. They're about the grinding out the first downs and setting up the big plays. So from a fundamental standpoint, I'm not betting this over. All that being said, I totally see your point. I don't disagree with any of it. And this game could be a shootout, and I wouldn't be shocked if it was a shootout. So I'm not playing the under, but I'm not going to get the winner with the over. It's a pass for me, total-wise.
Pass for you, total-wise. Okay, and Tomor liking the over too. Remarkable Gaming and I are on the exact same page. I've already taken the over 41 on Redskins Dolphins. Remarkable Gaming says both defenses suck. Dolphins are hungry for this win. I can see them putting up points. We also could see a bit of a bounce back from the Redskins after firing Gruden. I think 41 is too low. I think there's going to be sloppy play. I think we can get points in this game. I'm on the over 41 in Redskins-Dolphins. What do you think of that?
So I wouldn't talk you out of it. My biggest concern with the over in this game is red zone. I mean, the Dolphins' red zone offense, it hasn't been bad. It hasn't been really bad. It's been off the charts bad. I think 16% of their red zone opportunities have been touchdowns. That doesn't happen in the NFL. One would expect that to be better off the bye, but, again, you would expect the Chargers to stop fumbling at the 2-yard line, and it doesn't happen, You're asking a weak offensive team. I understand the Redskins' defense isn't any good. I know the Dolphins' defense isn't any good. But you're talking about two very weak offenses and asking them to get touchdowns, not field goals. That's not a game I'm going to have any money on before kickoff. And again, I'm not trying to talk you out of it. I'm not looking the other way. But it's not one that I'm going to get to the betting window with. I don't trust these teams to score touchdowns when they have the chance.
That is the biggest concern, is the red zone, without a doubt. So I hear that too. I'm also on the under 41 in Chargers, Steelers. We need to get to college football, and everyone wants to know what you're thinking about in today's game. But I do have to make two more moves, and we're changing around the Pick Six show that I do with Ragu and DJ Big Boss. So I've got to lock in these plays for the contest. I don't necessarily have to bet them, but I have to lock them in for the contest. So I want to ask you about a couple spots. Do you think Seahawks against the Browns, do you think I'm almost off of it now because I think it's just a recency bias after watching the Browns shit to bed. This could be a get-right spot for them. I'm interested in the over Texans-Chiefs. I don't quite understand this market move from the Saints to the Jaguars. Of those three plays, do any of them stand out as something that you would like to back?
So I'm not stepping in front of the Saints again, I'll tell you that. Teddy Bridgewater, 25-7 against the spread as an NFL starting quarterback. And two of the 7 losses came in those meaningless Week 17 games that didn't count. He's been clearly an undervalued commodity. However, the Saints are the biggest public play or one of the biggest public plays on the board this week. That is definitely a concern for me, especially after the Jags defense got gashed a little bit last week. I do think Jacksonville has a better defensive game in them than the one we just saw. What were the other two, Jimmy?
Well, how about this? What do you think about, because the Falcons against the Cardinals, I just see the Falcons as a better football team, and can I not believe what I've seen in the last 2 weeks and back the Falcons at the Cardinals this week?
You could. Atlanta, to me, is a team that thought they were going to be in the playoffs, and now they know they're not going to the playoffs, and teams like that are not teams I'm looking for excuses to back. That being said, the betting bandwagon for Atlanta is very, very small right now. It consists of wise guys and you, Jimmy. So that's not a bad group to be with.
I really am close to pulling the trigger there, and we think that David Johnson's going to be out, could be out in this spot. And then the other games I was asking you about, let me get to them here. Sorry, was it backing the Texans with Mahomes' ankle being a bit beaten up? And then I guess if his ankle is hurting, then how could you take the over? But it just feels like that sort of a spot, Texans and the over in Kansas City at Arrowhead this week. What do you think there?
Well, I mean, the Chiefs can't stop the run. The one thing defensively they have been able to do is rush the quarterback. The Texans have a great offense when it comes to chucking downfield. The one thing that they've struggled to do is protect the quarterback. So when you talk about a bad defense's strength and a good offense's weakness, that's what we're looking at in KC Houston this week. So I'm not excited about that over. And look, the Chiefs' offense has been a little bit out of sync of late, the last 2 weeks. We saw it in Detroit, where Mahomes didn't have a TD pass. We saw it last week against Indy. Their skill position talent's all banged up right now. And what makes the Chiefs' offense so unique is not just Mahomes. It's Mahomes with a bunch of playmakers who can get the ball in space and get in the end zone. That's not what KC has on the field right now. So I wouldn't talk you out of Houston. And total-wise, I don't have a strong opinion there.
Okay, and fine. I know we got to get into college football, but I have some decisions I need to make this afternoon. Is that too many points for Cincinnati in Baltimore?
So I'm tempted by the Bengals. I am, and I don't know that I'm going to. I haven't pulled the trigger yet. It's too many points for Baltimore to lay. They're not that kind of a team. But at the same time, the Bengals are bottom feeders, and when you're taking bottom feeders in the NFL, oftentimes you get what you pay for. I tried with the Jets last week, and look what I got. Absolutely nothing. And Cincinnati in any given week is capable of coming up with absolutely nothing. And you look at the bottom 5 teams in the NFL, they all have rookie quarterbacks or quarterback injuries. And then you have Cincinnati, and that's what they got. They got Andy Dalton. Lean Bengals, I haven't pulled the trigger yet. That's the only way I would look in that game.
Yeah, I agree. And I do have some interest in the under. But we got to get to this big game this evening. App State versus the Ragin' Cajuns. Market's been going back and forth, and now we see App State at +2 at Bet Online. So a -2 on the board for the Ragin' Cajuns. And let's take a look at this total. This total opened up at 68.5. It got up to 70 at a couple books, and now it's down to 69 or 69.5. And I know quite a few people that are on the under. App State 4-0, 34-31 win against North Carolina at Chapel Hill week 4. Turned some heads, 3-1 against the spread this season. App State finished first in the conference in scoring and second in yards and last season, and then returned almost everybody except one offensive lineman and one receiver. They beat the Ragin' Cajuns twice last season, 27-17 regular season, 30-19 in the title game. And then we have this Cajun defense that's improved quite a bit. Both teams can score. The Cajuns are 5-0 against the spread. They have a running game that's leading them to these 4 straight wins. And this is a tough game where we have people on both sides of the fence. Teddy Covers, what are you doing with this big game this evening?
So if I was going to do anything, I haven't done a thing with this game. From a side perspective, this game is, you talk about that +2, that is an outlier line. So if you like App State, you might want to grab that +2. There's not many of those available at this moment. But this is a pick'em game. It's a coin flip game, and I've handicapped it twice, and it's still a coin flip game. Last team with the ball may well win. Wouldn't shock me at all. That being said, I agree 100% with the market move to the under. I agree with the sentiment in the chat room towards the under. You talked about the 2 meetings last season between these two teams, neither of which was a shootout that got to 70 points. In fact, 5 of the last 6 in this series have stayed under the total. We saw 49 points and 49 points again in the 2 meetings last year. 44 and 49 in the 2 meetings last year. We're talking about the offenses are good. So are the defenses, and both teams are going to run the football. This isn't a game where we're going to see both quarterbacks chuck it 50 times and the clock's going to stop after every incompletion. There's going to be lots of grinding out first downs in this ball game. That's always good for underbettors, especially with totals approaching 70. So I agree wholeheartedly with the under sentiment. Haven't put it in pocket yet, but I might.
What is your hesitation on the making a move on the under?
I missed the best of the number.
Okay.
That's my biggest hesitation is, if I don't make I make a lot of bets, Jimmy, so do you, so do most of the people watching today. When I'm not getting the best of the number, that's a game. All right, well, I missed it. I should have played it. And most of the time I leave it alone. In this instance, I haven't missed it by much. I may well make the bet as soon as we get off air. Something I was thinking about and debating about, and it may well happen within the next half hour, but I haven't done it yet.
Yes, because it's fluctuated quite a bit, this total, and twice we've seen it go up to 71. And every time it gets up to 71, it goes back down to 69.5, then up to 71, back down to 69.5. All right.
Yeah, just jumping in. I can still find 70.5 here in Vegas. And now that we're talking about it, I don't usually make bets when we're on air because you're a little guy. You did that yesterday, didn't you? I can't do it when I'm on air. I'm afraid, I'm trying to listen to what you're saying. And if I'm on my phone making bets, it's I'll wait till we get off. But I'm still seeing 7.5s out there. Like I said, I may well pull the trigger on this as soon as we get off air. It's a bet that makes a whole lot of sense to me.
Yeah, it does. It does. Okay. Barry Block saying, I hate betting unders in college football. Our Matt Randall saying, I'm not betting an App State game to go under. It may very well go under, but something I'm not interested in doing. Okay, we have a lot of questions coming in from the chat, and the one that puts a big smile on my face is our guy Manny Sanchez says, love me some Teddy. My kid loves Teddy says, love to know Washington -6 at Arizona. And we'll start there. Watch, because I don't want to ask you too many questions. And says his 12-year-old daughter is stuck on these games. So his 12-year-old daughter hammering these games as well. Let's start with Washington -6 at Arizona. Let me see if I can get you a rotation number. It is 151, 152, and we've already seen it go down to -5 at Pinnacle. Washington, Arizona, Teddy covers.
Yeah, there's still some concerns about what's going to happen with it. It's not Tate. I don't know why. I thought there were some concerns about Tate. I don't see him listed on the injury report right here, right now. I put Washington pocket. That was one of the 4 bets that I made Sunday night / Monday morning. I like the bounce back spot for the Huskies. I like Washington's defense against Arizona. And while the offensive chemistry hasn't been there for Washington yet the way we thought it would, I don't think it's hopeless. I am an Eason fan. I do think Eason is a first-round talent. And I think that the Huskies can score against his defense, taking a little bit of a step down in defensive class here. So it's Washington or pass for me. I already put Washington in pocket, so I'm certainly not going to talk you out of taking the Huskies at a better price than I got. I was afraid it might go up to 7. Instead, it's moved the other direction.
All right, we have Washington. The next look is Penn State. Let's see Penn State here. Let me pull up the number on Penn State. Sorry, he's asked about the individual games here, and I got all these extra games on my sheet right now. Penn State.
It's all the way down at the bottom.
Oh, all the way at the bottom. Okay.
It's 203, 204.
Oh, perfect. Okay, thank you. Penn State, Iowa. Opening up -2.5 for Penn State, now at 3.5. This total at 43.5, now down to 41. And he's wondering, should he back Penn State -3.5 here?
I will have Iowa in my pocket by Saturday. I haven't bet it yet. I think that, they were 4.5 and I missed them. They weren't there for long. It's bouncing between 3.5 and 4 now. I'm going to put a 4 on Iowa in my pocket today. Again, the Hawkeyes, that battle against Michigan last week is nothing. We're not going to say, Iowa stinks. They didn't play a good offensive game. Nate Stanley played a poor game, but it's not like that's. But number one, Iowa's defense was great in that game. Number two is they still had a chance to win it at the end, despite the fact of how poorly their offense played. Number three, returning home against, and this Penn State team, make no mistake about it. Weakling. Look at their schedule. They haven't faced an Iowa State yet. They haven't faced an Iowa yet. Nittany Lions are going to get tested here. I'm not sure they're going to win the game. Iowa, one of my stronger opinions this week.
Ooh, one of his stronger opinions. Okay, writing these down right now. Okay, and I've been copying and pasting questions as we've gone. The first person to ask a question was near the beginning of the show, J.B. Brown. J.B. Brown on this big spread with Florida State at plus 26.5, where he has got them, and I'll see if that has changed. In this spot, Big Ragu was talking about last week backing Florida State first half. 2 weeks ago, backing Florida State first half, and because I took last week off, but I did take Florida State first half after he was talking about it in that cash. Ragu interested in going back to Florida State here. Florida State as giant dogs this week. Do they have a chance to cover? Teddy covers.
So last year was 59-10. It was a complete annihilation for Clemson. If you watch the game, you remember it. It was one of those games that stood out throughout the course of a long college football season. Prior to that, every game between these two teams competitive. And prior to that, Florida State's killing them every game. So last year's game was the outlier in this series. All that being said, I'm not convinced that this is the week that I'm going to, my first reaction was Florida State plus. Wow, yeah, I want Florida State. That's too many points. You're reading some of those quotes. Clemson off the test at North Carolina, off a bye week. They're coming to play here. And if Clemson comes to play, that's not a team I want to stand in front of. So my initial lean was towards the Seminoles. If you're going to take Florida State, I would say maybe first half makes more sense than full game. See if Clemson comes out of the bye a little bit sluggish. And Florida State's played some great first halves, or certainly better in the first half than in the second half on a consistent basis. And that's worth betting on once you see it. But, like I said, my initial lean was towards the Seminoles. And I just chickened out. And I'm not scared about chickening out. I'm not afraid to embarrass that because this is, again, a spot where I wouldn't be shocked if Clemson just destroys this team. They haven't done a lot of that this year, and they're capable of doing it.
Mississippi Kid agreeing with that. Okay, we have Suze, our great friend from Hawaii. Suze387 says, aloha, Teddy. You think Hawaii's passing attack will give Boise State trouble? I see this as a possible Hawaii letdown. And then our Paco Healy says, is 11.5 too much for Boise to be laying against Hawaii? Boise State opened up at minus 13.5, rotation number 139, 140. Now at 11.5. This total opened at 59. It's at 59.5 at Pinnacle, 60, and even 61 at Heritage. Teddy covers Hawaii, Boise State.
Let's start with this, all right? For those of you who, and there aren't that many of them. This is a hardcore group in the chat. But like the mainstream's going to focus on all these top 25 matchups. This might be the most intriguing game of the weekend. I can't wait to watch this one. This one's going to be a lot of fun. It's a great game in the Mountain West. We saw Hawaii go to Washington, and the offense didn't work. They turned the ball over. They moved the football in the second half of that game, but, at halftime, it was pretty well decided. It was at 38-7 at the break. That's their only test on the road against a good defense. That definitely concerns me here against Boise. Coming off that blowout win in Nevada and then the bye week, it's iffy here for Hawaii, and I want to be on Hawaii, okay? I am a Hawaii believer. I think the Warriors are a good team, a bet-on team. This particular matchup is a little bit problematic because what Boise is capable of doing in the secondary. But, again, the Broncos, you want to talk about a team that's been way overvalued. 18-36, their last 54 tries is home chalk. That's 33%, and that's a significant sample size. If I had to play it, it would be Warriors plus, but it's probably a game I'm going to talk about and then watch and without any action on. Well, we'll see if we get involved in the game. I'm not convinced that Hawaii's offense is going to be able to move the football against that defense, and that if they can't, Hawaii's not going to get enough stops to cover this number.
Our guy Todd Clinton says, Jimmy, can you ask Teddy his take Friday night with Oregon giving up minus 20 to Colorado? I feel the Ducks roll, but I need Teddy's take.
The price isn't right. I wouldn't be surprised if Oregon rolls too. Okay, I really wouldn't. But I kind of question the defensive numbers for the Ducks a little bit, and that's why this point spread was as high as it is and continues to go up. It has everything to do with the fact that in their last 4 games, they've allowed 6 points to Nevada, 3 points to Montana, 6 points to Stanford, and 7 points to Cal. None of those teams are good offensively. Hawaii was held to, Hawaii held Nevada to 3. Stanford the offense has been dicey at best, and then you know what I'm talking about. Cal hasn't moved the football; they're playing with the backup QB. So we're laying a price with Oregon that's inflated because of these bottom feeders or these. Cal's not a bottom feeder because of the bottom feeding offenses that they faced against, and Colorado's not a bottom feeding offense. So, they've gotten in the 30s, 4 times in 5 games, including against, Power 5 squads in those games. So the price is too high for me on Oregon. I wouldn't be shocked if the Ducks win this game in massive blowout fashion, but I'm being asked to lay a bigger price than I'm willing to lay because of some defensive stats that don't necessarily mesh with A, what Oregon really is, and B, what Colorado's capable of doing on offense. So not chalk I'm going to lay here, and it's only going to get higher. If you like Colorado, just wait. Who knows how long? Is this line going to get to? Let me look at it for a minute. I haven't seen that it's going to get. We're looking at 21s already, 21.5. I wouldn't be shocked if it keeps going up. I wrote it down at what's the opener here? The 20.5 yesterday, 21 today. It's only going one direction. 21.5 is popping up. Too many points.
Too many points. Melee Pelis Way, Max betting the Dodgers here. Max betting the Dodgers. All right. Our guy Jeremy Williams has asked Teddy about rotation number 189, 190, North Texas, Southern Miss. Southern Miss opening up at -6. Now 3s or 3.5s on the board. Southern Miss, should they be backed here as a slight home favorite?
So, this is, maybe the weakest conference in college football this year. You know, we talk about the Sun Belt, we talk about the MAC. Conference USA is down. And in general, when we're talking about one of these down conferences, I'm not excited about laying points with anyone. I mean, we saw what happened with North Texas in the game against Houston prior to the bye, where it's like, oh, wow, you know, Houston's lost everything. Let's bet North Texas. They got bet up to -6. They lost the game by 3 touchdowns. That's this conference. You know, Southern Miss. All right, well, let's see what we can do. Can we get Alabama? Can we get that game over the total? Can they hang? I mean, that's the only game that they've played against anyone decent all year. But no, and then Mississippi State, they don't move the football. I don't trust these teams. I don't trust either one of them. If I had to play the game, I would look over the total. These are 2 potent offenses and 2 defenses that don't get stops necessarily against the better offenses they face. So my lean here is towards over. That's from a side standpoint, I got nothing for you. Good luck.
We have some plays of the day from our guys in the chat. Matt Randall liking the over in Nebraska, Minnesota, 129-130 rotation number. This opened at 52.5. It's now at 50 at Pinnacle, 50 at Bookmaker, 49.5 everywhere else. What do you think of the over in Nebraska, Minnesota?
Makes a ton of sense. I like the way Matt Randall thinks. I really do. These aren't always his spots are under the radar spots that make a ton of sense. The guy clearly is doing a fair bit of work on college football. Cheers. I like to play a fair bit. Gophers' offense is real. Minnesota's real. All right. Make no mistake about it. This team is capable of putting up points in bunches. And there's a big play passing element for Minnesota that just hasn't been there in years past. We know what Nebraska can do. I mean, there obviously questions about the quarterback position, but their defense is not good, and their offense can put up points. And Minnesota's defense isn't great. So over there makes a ton of sense to me. I'm worried a little bit about pace in that game, but that's the only concern I have. It's an over matchup on paper, big time, with a reasonable total.
Yeah, it is, and it's dropped a couple points too. Our guy Noli.
Well, that's Martinez. The issue is whether the Nebraska's QB is going to be healthy.
No, I hear that. And we got some information in the chat about that from Tom Marino. Yeah, it's not clear if Martinez plays this week for Nebraska, so need to know that information. Our guy Noli knows, the man who's making unders great again. NIU, Ohio, rotation number 161, 162. Noli knows likes the under in Northern Illinois, Ohio at 49.5. What do you think of that?
So it's funny because for years, I've had Ohio as essentially an over team. This is the team that I want to be. Their offense has been good. Their defense, not so much. That's not the case this year. Their defensive numbers have actually been fairly impressive, with the exception of that one bad game against Louisiana-Lafayette. But their defense is forcing turnovers. A handful of them. The problem is that the offense turns the ball over. But they're not giving up yards in bunches, and that's something to like about Ohio. They haven't been a good point spread team by any stretch of the imagination. They've been a little disappointing so far. Northern Illinois, I don't know what happened to their offense, man. I thought that, maybe Rod Carey leaves and that's the end of that. But they haven't been able to, they have yet to put up 400 yards in a game this season. And again, Utah, Nebraska, Vandy, they played some decent foes, but they had Ball State and couldn't get to 400 yards against them last week. Turnovers, a big part of that equation. But it's certainly an under that makes sense given Ohio's defense performing better than expected this year. Northern Illinois struggles on the offensive end. I wouldn't talk you out of that one at all.
Our guy, Prince of the City, wondering what you think of Cincinnati at Houston. 171-172, 25th ranked Cincinnati, open at -5, now 7.5, Teddy. Do you agree with that market move? Is there still value with Cincinnati?
I'm tempted by the Cougs. No, I don't want Cincinnati here. I don't want Cincinnati here, okay? That was a huge win last week, and a massive win for that program last week. And now they're ranked, they're on the road, they're laying a touchdown against a Houston team that just covered the spread by 4 touchdowns in a game where the market's crashing. And Houston's can't be there. Derek King is quit the team and all. And they won, it killed them. And now they had a week to get the QB up to speed. I talked about Iowa, and Iowa's the one that I like. Houston's another one that I like. I don't want the road favorite here.
Backing Houston. There are more questions coming in, but have you added to your short list? Is there other moves that have caught your attention that we should be spending the last few minutes on the show talking about, or should I continue asking you questions?
So the 4 bets that I made prior to the show on Monday are literally the only 4 that I've made so far. So I'm happy to answer questions. Tomorrow I'll have a bunch of plays for you, but today I don't.
Perfect.
I haven't pulled the trigger. A lot of times, unfortunately, the way my day goes, a lot of times the period immediately after I get off the air is when I'm making bets and doing that, and it takes till the next day before we get there. But that's just the way the schedule works out. So I apologize. I haven't. I got. I gave you Nevada, Fresno, Iowa State, and Washington on Monday. Today I talked about Iowa and Houston as 2 that I like. So there's 6 that make a whole lot of sense to me early in the week.
We love it, and we love learning about your process, so absolutely no need to apologize at all, and we just love this. Having you every day of the week has been very, very interesting for us all, deciding how we should change, what moves we should make to our own process, watching your process. Navy Tulsa is a question coming in from our Casano Magic. Casano Magic, rotation number 123, 124. Casano Magic says, Jimmy, can you ask about Tulsa -1 at home to Navy? I'm on Tulsa -1, and they are no longer -1 at a lot of books. It is moved to Navy as a favorite. This total's gone from 54 to 53.5. Navy, Tulsa, should Casano Magic be concerned about this market move over to Navy?
Maybe. I mean, this is not a Tulsa spot. It's the anti-Tulsa spot in a lot of sense. They let SMU, what was that, 30-9 last week? I don't remember the start of the 4th quarter or the end of the 3rd. They were comfortably in control of that game, and then they let it get away. And turned the ball over. Defense got gassed. They put a ton into that game. I worry this week about Tulsa's ability to go. And now, again, they faced SMU, air raid offense last week. Now they're facing a triple option this week, and they're coming off a grueling overtime loss? No. That's not a Tulsa spot, and they're not a good offensive team. And I was wrong about Navy last week. Navy cost me money last week. The final score is not accurate. They scored on one of those fumble Ruski plays in the last play to make the final score 34-25. And they did blow a three-score lead in the 4th quarter of that game as Air Force rolled back. And Navy hasn't been great off of Air Force, but that was the best I've seen Navy look really since the East Carolina game. We worried about the Memphis game and if their QB's healthy and any of that. Their QB's healthy, and it's a offense that I think that Tulsa's going to have some problem with. So I fully understand the market move towards Navy, and I wouldn't step in front of this particular wise guy money.
Okay, interesting take. Our guy Andrew in the chat says, can I comfortably take Illinois plus 21.5? Can Michigan blow out anybody?
Yeah, they can. They blew out Rutgers 2 weeks ago. And Illinois' got QB issues this week. Be sure you check that injury report before you make a bet on the Illini. I do not want a backup quarterback going against Michigan's defense.
Our guy, Mississippi Kid says Missouri -12. Says Missouri rips his Ole Miss Rebels. What do you think of Missouri -12?
Does look a little cheap, doesn't it? All that being said, Ole Miss found a quarterback, and that they're a better team now than they were a month ago. Their power rating's been doing a steady rise in my wow, that looks weird on the camera. Sorry, it's too close. But the power rating, I continue to raise Ole Miss. Their defense has been a little bit better than expected, and they've got a QB now who's making plays, and with his feet and with his legs. Missouri might throttle this team. Missouri is capable of throttling anybody. But when I've got a team like Ole Miss that week after week, and they're just notching up a little bit, those tend to be teams I'm not excited about stepping in front of. Won't talk you out of it. Not one I'm going to bet.
Eddie Euler asking Michigan State team total under 14.5 at Wisconsin. What do you think?
I wouldn't bet the over. That hook will suck you in, though. Sparty clearly has some offensive issues, and Wisconsin is a team that's on a freaking roll right now. That's capable of doing damage to Michigan State's defense, or offense, I should say. I wouldn't argue with the game total under, the full game. I think Michigan State's defense is going to play a heck of a lot better than it did last week. The look on Antonio's face at the end of the Ohio State game was something to behold. I'm expecting a low-scoring game in general. Wouldn't argue with any under money in Wisconsin, Michigan State.
All right, great stuff. Teddy covers. Thank you for all this insight. And as Teddy said, he's going to be locking in some more action after this show, so we will hear what he's on tomorrow's show. Follow him on Twitter. He's an absolutely great follow. Teddy_covers, very active, especially on the weekend. Teddy, thank you so much for joining us this morning and every morning. We love having you on the show, my man. And good luck with your action in the next few hours. We're so excited to hear what you'll be on tomorrow.
Thank you so much, Jimmy. I appreciate that. Good luck with your Canucks tonight, buddy.
Thank you.
It's in a game. I don't even know who they're playing, so I have no problems rooting for you, as long as they're not playing Vegas.
Yeah. Well, oh, man, and do I ever want to see games in Vegas so badly? So hopefully I will be in the city to watch some games with you. Very excited to see what the market, what the community and everyone in Vegas has done to support that franchise. And everybody.
You've never seen a hockey town like Vegas, dude. It is literally the craziest thing that I've ever seen in terms of a transformation from a town that paid no attention to hockey to a town in which is hockey fanatics everywhere, dude. 3 years ago, there wasn't a kid in Las Vegas who played street hockey. Now you can't go in any neighborhood. In any neighborhood in town, you're going to see kids playing street hockey. They're all wearing Golden Knights jerseys.
Oh, we love it. Everybody loves it. Now, my Canucks have never won a Stanley Cup, and we are perennial losers. So when you were about to win the cup in the first year, I did not want that to happen. I wanted you guys.
I don't blame.
Turn it a little more, but insane. That's just me being honest. But we are every fan of NHL is very, very happy and thankful to see what's gone on in Vegas. It just adds to our sport, and so there's Knights fans everywhere. Teddy Covers, thank you so much for joining us, my friend. Can't wait to see you tomorrow morning. Cheers. Have a great day, guys. Good luck with every bet that you make. There he is, Teddy Covers in house. Sherigan Amateur saying, what's your best bet for NHL? For me, it's the over 6 in Buffalo, Montreal, but I did add the over 6 in New Jersey, Philadelphia. Aaron Bistron says, love the chat. See what positivity does. Brings cappers and degenerates together to not only kill the books, but slay the fish as well. Oh, Aaron Bistron, you are a great, great guy, man. I love that. Let's close on Aaron Bistron's great comment there in the chat. Thank you guys so much for all your help, your insights, and your humor. We have a big baseball game popping off at 3 o'clock my time here, and I'm off of it. I'm off of it at this point. What I am on is the over 6 in Montreal, Buffalo, the over 6 in New Jersey, Philadelphia, and do know that I've lost 5 straight in NHL, and you know what can I say? It sucks, man. It sucks. Tyrone Coleman says, what's the taint play today, Matt? Tyrone, the taint play today is the Braves on the money line. Prince of the City says, I need tickets for a night Saturday, November 2nd. Get it done. Oh, yeah. You guys, man, I wish I could be hanging out with you. Ragu Dom, Prince of the City at a Vegas game, man. Oh, God. That's the Saturday night of the Breeders' Cup. I mean, that's like the greatest day of the entire year. Much love to all of you guys. I will see you on the Late Show. Al Mack will be one of our guests amongst others, and can't wait to rock with you guys. So thank you for watching the show. Let's get after it. Leche, hey, los bookmakers.